Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mpotsedu. What time is it? It is Question Time. Is it possible to eradicate the AIDS epidemic by 2030? What prompted the adoption of UNAIDS 1990 Vision 2020? Who is infecting young girls with HIV? And what is the link between Prevotella Bivia bacteria and the chances of women acquiring HIV? Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mpotsedu. Researchers in developing countries with high HIV infections are developing promising strategies to advance towards global HIV treatment targets. This was revealed at the 21st International AIDS Conference in Durban last week. Thousands of civil rights activists, including the Treatment Action Campaign, marched through the city during the opening of the gathering on Monday. This was aimed at highlighting the need to get antiretroviral treatment to people with HIV. There's been a marked improvement on South Africa's fight against the pandemic, though with the country ranked amongst those providing insights on how to achieve the 90-90-90 objectives. The interrogation of the age factor on sexual relationships between older men and younger women, as well as prevalence of the Prevotella Bivia bacteria, were some of the most topical issues discussed at the conference. We are live, and therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial 089-1104-210. If you're outside the borders, 002-789-1104-210. My guest today, Portia Serote. She's the National Women's Representative from the Treatment Action Campaign. And joining us from our Durban studio is Professor Salim Abdul Karim. He's the director at the Center for the AIDS Program of Research in South Africa, Caprisa, that is. Before we continue, let's have a look at this clip by Deputy President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa.
This conference is quite apt. Access, equity, rights now. This resonates strongly with the provisions of our own South African Constitution that makes access to health services a basic human right. This conference will challenge us, particularly as governments, to continue our work with our partners to build quality health systems and to provide accessible services and support to our people.
That's the Deputy President there, and indeed, let me welcome my guest. Welcome to Question Time. Thank you very much for making time. Well, I watched the opening. I also watched some of the proceedings throughout the conference. I could see there had been some clear strategy on the part of the TAC that we are not going to let this opportunity go by. We're going to go out there and make our voice heard. On a very serious note, some serious toy organized there. It was really a protest, a platform for protest for you. Why?
The reason for the protest is that, our minister is a very good minister in reports, but the problem is implementation. For an example, now he just came out to say he's going to implement the test and treat on September. But the problem is the actual things that are happening at the ground level. For an example, our clinics are very small. We don't have infection control. We don't have human resources. Community healthcare workers are not paid. The question that we are asking ourselves, and there is also shortage of drugs for people like us who are taking ARVs. So we are asking ourselves, when the minister says we are going to test and treat, where are we going to take treatment? Where are we going to take all those people in the clinics, because they are very small and there's no infection control? On the other side, the minister wants to implement the the National Health Insurance, of which it has cost standards. We ask ourselves to say, if people are packed in a very small clinics, we are not going to reach the targets that he set again on the cost standards of health. That is patients waiting for longer periods, infection control, cleanliness, and shortage of drugs, attitude of staffs. He just implements without, going back and checking what are the things that are wrong before he could implement new things on the old ones that already are in wrong.
Did you achieve anything out of this conference?
Definitely, yes, we did. Even if they are just dreams, they are just promises, because we are forever being told promises. We've been promised that people will get their treatment, everybody will be tested and treated, we don't have to worry about that. Community healthcare workers will be paid, there'll be better drugs available in place. The Department of the government, the Department of Health needs to work very closely with a civil society organization in making sure that we eradicate HIV by 2030. Because if we work in silos and separately so, it therefore means we're not going to win the battle of HIV and AIDS.
Prof, between 2000 and 2016 conference,
Yes.
was there any improvement here worth noting?
The minister is a
Well, let me hear what the Prof has to say on this. We'll come back to you. Prof? Oh, it appears Prof can't hear us. Let me pose that same question to you.
The minister is a very good minister, and he's trying his very best in making sure that there's a difference. Before the minister came into being the minister, we had the leadership of the denialist, ministers who did not want to provide treatment for people who were living with HIV. But with the minister that we have in place, he tried to make sure that there is HCT program running. He tried to make sure that people are getting antiretrovirals. But even though he is doing that, there are still problems. The problem with the minister is that he just plans at the upper level without checking the things at the ground level with people at the ground level of what is it that is happening.
That's the responsibility of provincial leaders as well. They are health MECs.
Definitely. That's what we are forever arguing with the minister, to say you have good policies in place that are supposed to be implemented at the provincial level. However, if the MECs at the provincial level are not doing what they are supposed to be doing, it is your responsibility to monitor, to evaluate, to check what is it that is happening. Because the constitution is so clear to say all the structures of the department must make sure that the rights of the people in chapter 2 of which is Bill of Rights are not violated in any way. We don't know anything of that. What we need to see is treatment at the level. Whoever is doing what, whoever is not doing what, it is not the responsibility of people at the ground level. They don't understand those politics.
Hold it there. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll be taking your calls. What did you think of this AIDS conference that was held here last week? Do you think it achieved anything? Was it just another talk shop? Expensive talk shop, that is? The numbers to dial 089-1104210. Our Twitter handle at @QuestionTime24. We shall return shortly.
There is a sign for perfectionism. There's a sign for goosebumps. Something that symbolizes more performance. A sign for a special mindset. There is a sign for everything we stand for. Audi Sport, born on the track. Built for the road. Join the League of Performance.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today, Portia Sirotesh, is the National Women's Representative from the Treatment Action Campaign. And from our Durban studio, Professor Salim Abdul Karim is the Director at the Center for the AIDS Program of Research in South Africa. Prof, I hope you can hear me now.
Oh, now I've lost the sound.
So Prof can't hear me.
I can't hear.
Oh, Prof can't hear me, unfortunately. Okay. Let's look at that question where I was saying between the year 2000 and 2016. Did you see or notice any differences?
Like I said that before, it was worse. because a march was not happening because of the denialist. But with the presence of Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, he tried very much. We have 3.4 million people who are on ARVs. He brought very active programs in action, of your HCT programs, where people would learn from about their HIV status, and the PMTCT, that is prevention of mother-to-child transmission, has been in place. And from that, we've learned that at least now we are standing at minus 0.2% of children who are born with HIV/AIDS. So much has been done since now.
Okay, Cyril, you're in Durban. Welcome. Cyril?
Yeah.
Yes, welcome. You're on air.
Sorry, man. I've got a complaint.
Okay.
The lady on the air now, Portia or something.
Serote.
Yeah, she's talking too loud and too fast. I can't understand what she's trying to say.
She's speaking what?
I'm a regular listener of Question Time.
Okay, so Portia's pace is too fast, you say?
She's too fast. She's talking like, parrot fashion.
Oh.
Like singing a song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Cyril. Well, Portia, I'm sure
I'll try to slow down.
you'll try to slow down. I don't know if that reflects the heat in the issues that we're talking about.
Activist.
I see. The activist in you comes out all the time. Who is infecting young women?
Definitely, it is a vicious cycle. In a true sense of everything, young girls, when we look at the statistics, the way they've shown them in the AIDS conference and the research that has been made, it is clear that young girls are infected by men older than them. We have the blessers today, we have sugar daddies, so it is obvious. But again, when the relationship of young girls with older men, it is not working, they go back to boys of their same age. So it is more like a vicious cycle. The young girls get HIV from the older men, then take it back to the young boys of their same age.
Young, you are in Limpopo.
Hello, Mpo.
Hey.
Yes, good evening, and how are you?
I'm well, thanks for the call.
Good, man. My submission today is that with the terms of deployment,
Yes.
hence the current minister is deployed based on his academic qualification.
Yes.
Also at the provincial level, it must equally be done the same, so that as a health MEC, it mustn't be appointed somebody with an agricultural background or an agricultural qualification.
Oh.
Everybody or as a department must be appointed on his credentials and academic qualifications related to that particular department.
But then what happens with the president and the premiers who have to oversee all such departments?
Hence, the president and the entire collective of parliament, they have to sit down and put a policy in place that suits and benefit entire departments from people who are academically orientated, I would say.
Oh, I see. I know, I get your point, Young.
Not deploying somebody with a law qualification on maybe health issues.
Okay.
I think that would best work.
Okay.
Going down to the provincial level as well.
But do you think is it a disadvantage in any way? I mean, Gauteng has Patani Mahlangu, who is not a qualified medical practitioner of any sort. Well, Limpopo is fortunate. Popira Matuba is a qualified doctor. KZN the same as well.
At least in that sense, it gives the province an added advantage, unlike in other departments and in other provinces. Because the deployment policy, I don't know how do they go about deploying. They just, because you are a comrade and an affiliate or maybe a friend to the president, then you are appointed under a certain department.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Jan. Let's look at the relevance of TAC today.
Yes.
Do we still need you?
Yes.
Why?
TAC is still relevant. Health is a cut-crossing issue. A person who's living with HIV, there are many things that she needs. We have the National Strategic Plan that talks about psychological support. People who are living with HIV, in order for them to take antiretrovirals, they need food. We get to have opportunistic infections like your TB, like your cancer, and many others. And as much is not done at the ground level, it therefore means there is no way we are going to win the battle. Even if Mtswaledi has provided 3.4 million people with ARVs, but as long as people are not having food to eat, the other 90 of the 90s by the UNAIDS, we are not going to reach, of which is the 90 that says we need to make sure that 90% of viral loads are lower than detectable. So if people are having those challenges and are not attended to, it therefore means there is no way people can adhere to their treatment. And as long as they can't adhere to their treatment, they will continue on getting sick, they will continue on dying, and they will continue on infecting other people. Because a study, HTP-NO5-2TN, has proved that if a person is adhering on treatment, that person is safe by 96% in infecting other persons. So it's as much as you are taking treatment, ARVs as your therapy, and it's as much as you are using it as a preventative tool to prevent the other people.
Okay. Courage, you're calling us from Joburg.
Yes, Mpo, thank you so much. Just like to greet you all in the studio there.
Thank you, Courage, for the call.
Also to say this 2016 AIDS conference was quite a success, indeed, because especially the words from the South African government, I think personally it was quite an example, quite exemplary to the whole world that the country is quite serious about this pandemic of HIV and AIDS, and its commitment to try and eradicate it. Look, for example, how they have augmented the budget that's going to be allocated to the procurement of ARVs, despite the fact that there are other organizations out of South Africa who are actually funding it. It's quite very good, and other African countries and indeed the world should take an example from South Africa and try to nip this condition in the bud that has really terrorized the whole world for a long time. So I think this agenda for 2020, although we may not attain it, I think as Africa, particularly South Africa, they could have gone quite a long mile.
Okay, thank you very much, Courage. Thank you for the call there. Well, Courage, they're calling us from around Johannesburg. Let's look at something, and it's a pity that the Prof has had to leave owing to technical difficulties that we were experiencing, and we apologize profusely, Prof, for the technical glitches that we experienced there. But I would have wanted to know. I'll tell you my honest fact here, but this is an honest opinion. I don't believe all these stats that seem to project and portray South Africa as the worst country when it comes to everything, basically, HIV and AIDS included.
Yeah, that is difficult just thing that you're saying. But if different researchers are coming close to the same figures, let us believe them. But the stats that we don't believe as TAC is to say 3.4 million people are on treatment. We know that I take antiretrovirals in this clinic. Sometimes somebody sees me, I go to another clinic, I register, I'm added. Sometimes I go to another province, I'm registered. So that sometimes is some kind of like, confusing to say some people are taking treatment in different clinics, but still they are counted. So that is a problem. Others, they have died, but still, that is a problem. Sometimes files get lost in the clinics, and once they got lost, when they open another file, you are counted. Again. So it is more like there is no flexibility in that.
Okay, hold it there. Let's take Paul. Paul Semtata.
Yes, hello, sir.
Yes.
Now, yes, I'm sharing the sentiments of the lady there, Portia.
Yes.
The problem is this. I'm working as a nurse, no?
Yes.
What is currently happening? There is a gross shortage of nurses.
Yes.
In for instance, I'll talk about Eastern Cape. Instead of having 5 nurses, you're having 1. Mm-hmm. Some hospitals and clinics, instead of having 10, you're having 2. So now the question is, who is going to implement these things? As Portia said that What the minister is doing is just giving the policies, but not checking down there if there are people to proceed with this. Like, for instance, how can you allocate one doctor to service 20 clinics? I mean, that is ridiculous. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Well, sharing your sentiments there.
It's true. Hence, as TAC, we are still relevant because for us, it is more like the minister goes with everything, that it is coming with the global recommendations. For an example, your UNAIDS, your whatever, without coming down at the ground level. It is true, and the minister acknowledges that we are having a shortage of nurses. Hence now, they want to bring on the community healthcare workers. They need to pay them under PERSAL. They want to take care of them so that they can offload the work that is done in the facilities. Okay. What my brother here is saying is a true reflection of what is happening at the ground level. I strongly concur with him.
Okay, I want you to look at the statistics that we have on our screen there. The UNAIDS 1990 trialogy, you have it here. 90% by 2020, 90% of all people living with HIV will know their HIV status. 90% will be receiving sustained antiretroviral therapy. 90% of all people receiving antiretroviral therapy will have viral suppression. Is that possible? Do you have confidence in this?
It is a dream. A dream.
Well, some dreams are...
it is a dream that we think in some of the 90s are impossible.
Okay,
for an example, with the first 90, we can say there's a possibility because we've learned that from 8 City to say anybody who comes to the facility, if you have a headache, you need to be initiated, to be tested for HIV, even if you don't want. Most nurses were pushing to say whether you have a headache or you want to take out your teeth or you want to do what, before we can provide that, we need to test you. So people were coerced in order to test for HIV. So I think the same will happen with the same 90. With the second 90, I doubt, because really we are having a challenge, and not only a challenge of antiretrovirals, but a challenge of opportunistic infection treatment. So people sometimes will go to the facilities, and when they go back home, it's either you are provided with 2 tablets for you to take and come back another day, or sometimes there is no treatment at all. With the last 90, it is 100% impossible. I will tell you, we went in the last International AIDS Conference in Australia in Melbourne. That's where we've learned that South Africa is the greatest or is leading in the provision of antiretrovirals. However, the problem with South Africa is that viral loads are not getting lower than undetectable. We expected the minister, when we come back, for the minister to sit back with us to check what is, to monitor and evaluate and learn to say why people are not adhering to their treatment. Instead, the minister said anyone at the CD4 count of 500 is going to be initiated on treatment. All the pregnant women are going to be provided on treatment. So the last 90 is highly, and the second 90 highly impossible.
Ngwanda, you are in the Eastern Cape. Your last caller.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You are speaking to Nogwanda at Montfrey.
Oh, Nogwanda.
What a Nogwanda.
Okay.
Nogwanda.
All right.
We have got a problem there in our rural areas.
Yes.
We are depending on clinics that are situated in rural areas. Our major problem is our nurses. If you are tested positive, they disclose your status to any people who are visiting the clinic. So now we are very, very scared of getting treatment from the clinic. We opted to our hospital, Matsikanekazo. There is a long queue in that hospital. So what is the solution?
Okay, Nogwanda, thank you very much for the call. A sad scenario, though. How do people with such concerns then get help?
Definitely. That's the question that we are asking ourselves, because the first 90 is going to go in informal settlement, is going to go and target people who are not having clinics, test them and expect them to go to the facilities. There are people, from example, where I am residing. For me to go to the health facility, I have to take 4 taxis to go to the facility and to go back home. Other people are not working, they are not having money, and the attitude of staff, it is caused by what my brother has said, to say there is limited staff. Our nurses sometimes, they don't even go to tea time, they don't even go to lunch, and whilst patients are seated there, they don't understand what is happening for them to sit for a very long time. It's It's a problem. There are a lot of challenges. Hence, we are saying the 90-90-90 for the minister to implement and make sure that everything is done the right way. We need to go back at the ground level. Ask the poor nurses, ask the poor patients, what is it that is happening at the ground level?
But are you saying the department is not doing that?
I don't think they are doing that, because if they were doing that is why TAC is still relevant, because we pick up these challenges, we raise them to them. Sometimes they don't even know about them. They come with us to say, MEC, Tatani Matang, come and see what is it that is happening in Gauteng in these facilities. And I don't see how everything is going to be possible. NHLS, National Health Laboratory Services, is in shambles. People take bloods, results don't come back. So we have lots of challenges that firstly need to be dealt with before the minister could have announced to say, end of September, we are going to make sure that everybody just test and treat. It's a dream that it is not going to come to get true.
My word.
Definitely.
That's a sad scenario, though.
That is the actual things that are really happening at the ground level. Hence, I'm saying they implement that we need approach from bottom to up, other than them sitting up there just deciding on what is it that needs to happen at the ground level. We are those people. We are every day in the facilities. They need to talk to the poor nurses.
Portia, thank you for the time.
Wow, thanks. That was
Unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hoping to have you soon.
Thanks.
Well, we are done for today, and may I just repeat once again our apologies to the Prof. It really wasn't our intention not to have you on the show. It was just technical, so please forgive us. And that was Question Time for today. From me and the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.